Most people think that Indian Army only teaches you how to fight wars. Well, it doesn't. It teaches you how to become a better human being. At least it taught me that. So a lot of you know that before I became a communication coach, I served as a legal officer in the Indian Army. But today I don't want to talk about medals or ranks or uniform. I just want to talk about the lesson that transformed a village girl like me into a woman you are seeing today. I belong to a very humble background. When I was growing up, I was not very fluent in English. I certainly didn't look like I do today. You all can understand that. Like many middle class families in India, my parents went through financial struggles and made countless sacrifices and give me the opportunities I got. So when I finally cleared the army and joined as an officer, it felt like I had entered a completely different world, not because people were richer, not because people were speaking in English, not because there was some kind of a culture which was different, but it was a system, a way of doing everything. And slowly, without me even realizing it, that way of doing and living life started changing me. The 10 lessons which I'm going to share with you are very special to me because they have had the biggest impact on my life in general. Even after I left the army and became a civilian, these are the principles I still live by every single day. And they have shaped the way I think, they have shaped the way I work and put in the efforts, the way I communicate, and even the way I carry myself, both from outside and, of course, inside. So today, I would love to share these lessons with all of you. Listen to them with open mind. And without wasting much time, let's begin with the very first lesson. So, the lesson number one, which I learned while serving in the army, was that manners are not about showing off, they're about respecting people. The very first thing that surprised me during training was the dining etiquette. So, nobody had ever taught me how to use a fork or a knife. I belong to a village, so of course, how would that have happened? How different courses of meals are served, how to place cutlery on table, how to sit, how to excuse yourself from the table, and how to eat different food items. So initially I used to think, is this all really necessary? Like, why do we even need to learn it? Then I understood something. Manners are not about looking rich or behaving like someone else. Like people say that we are copying the British culture, but I feel that they're about making other people comfortable. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with eating with your hands. In fact, that's our culture, our Indian culture. But I feel that learning to use a fork and a knife gave me another skill. Sometimes you're attending formal dinners, sometimes you have international meetings, sometimes you have official functions to attend. And knowing both of the cultural ways or etiquette or manners or different styles of eating makes you adaptable. I also realized this one thing, that etiquette is largely about cleanliness. Your hands remain clean. The dining experience becomes more graceful. And that was my first lesson. And I didn't need to attend any courses to learn it. It all came for free because I was training for the Indian Army. Let's go to lesson number two. Now, this was the most important lesson for my life, and which is that time is not money, time is character. Now, before joining the army, I was honestly a little messy. I was usually late. I believed that 5 or 10 minutes don't matter much. This was how I used to think. But serving in the army completely changed that habit. So, in the army, if you are on time, you're already late. Listen to it again. If you are on time, you're already late. You are expected to reach before time because punctuality is respect, and respect for your team, respect for your missions, respect for the tasks which have been assigned to you, respect for the people who are waiting for you. And even today, people ask me, how do you manage YouTube, your workshops, your businesses, your kids, and family, and everything? And I have just this one simple answer, which I've applied in practicality in my life. I don't postpone things. If something needs to be done today, I do it today. The army made punctuality a habit instead of a struggle for me. And this is not something which I read in book. I literally applied in my life while serving in the army. Lesson number three. Hosting people is an art. So, coming from a village background, I had never experienced the level of planning that goes into hosting guests and doing parties. The army taught me all of it, like how to decorate a dining table, how to arrange the crockery on the table, the different types of cutlery, the different kinds of courses, which glasses are to be used for which occasion. Like, I don't drink, but I learned everything, like which is a wine glass, which is a champagne glass, how to welcome guests, how to choose thoughtful gifts for others, how to conduct formal dinners, and every small detail mattered so much. And eventually, I realized this that people don't remember how expensive your party was, they remember how you made them feel. So, good hosting is simply another language of respect, and I genuinely learned it from Army. Lesson number 4, the rule of reporting back. Now, this is probably the one lesson I wish every civilian workplace implements. Now, in the army, there is an unwritten habit of reporting back. Suppose your senior assigns you a task, you don't simply disappear. You report back. Now, what I mean by reporting back is reporting back when the work has been completed. Even when there is an issue which comes up before completing the work, you have to report back about the progress or the reasons why it couldn't be completed. So it was a daily reporting. Like every single thing is communicated. In civilian life, I often notice people receive work and then vanish or maybe report after a few days. And the manager keep following, did it happen? What's the update? What will be done? That wastes everyone's time a lot. While reporting back builds so much of trust. Like it creates accountability, it prevents misunderstandings, and it makes people reliable. Even today, whenever somebody assigns me work, reporting back happens naturally because it has become a habit within me. And honestly, I think if every workplace adopted just this one habit of frequent reporting back, productivity would improve tremendously. Lesson number 5, India is incredibly diverse. The army gave me something very few professions can, the opportunity to serve across different parts of India. Like I have served in Jammu and Kashmir, I have been there in Sukna, the foothills of Darjeeling. I spent some time in Guwahati, in Shillong, in Sikkim because I was assigned court martial duties there. And I met people from different religions, different languages, and every culture was different. And I realized something so beautiful, I think, which I wouldn't have realized if I wouldn't have served in the army, that India cannot be understood from one city. Every region has a different way of living, like different food, so many different traditions and perspectives, and yet everyone proudly wears the same uniform. We are so diverse but still so connected. And that experience made me more accepting towards different viewpoints, more curious, and much less judgmental about how people view life. I also have to say this that the Northeast is one of the safest places I have experienced as a woman. I always felt respected there, and that experience changed many of my assumptions about how women are treated in my country. Like, that was amazing. Lesson number 6, the army changed what I believed a woman could do. Like growing up, like many Indian girls, I often heard this that don't go outside at night. You are a girl, you should not do this, you're not do that. Outside, it's unsafe for girls. Then, of course, I became a young Indian Army officer. And one of my responsibility was serving as a duty officer. Now imagine it's around 2 or 2:30 in the morning. Yeah, late night. I'm sitting inside an army gypsy, going from one post to another, checking every sentry, making sure everyone is alert, making sure security is maintained. And suddenly I had this realization in that moment that the same girl who was once told not to step outside in the dark was now responsible for checking security in the middle of the night. I still remember that feeling as a young officer. Like it was not about power over people, but the power over my own fears. That moment changed me forever. It made me realize that capability has nothing to do with your gender, it's just about your perception and the skills you have. Lesson number 7, leadership means serving first. Now, many people think that rank means authority. The army teaches the opposite. Now, rank means also responsibility. Like, if your team fails, it's your responsibility. If your people don't have what they need, it's your responsibility. If someone commits an error, it's your responsibility. Good leaders don't ask, why didn't they perform? They always ask, what could I have done better? These are the kinds of seniors I trained with while I was serving in the army. Now, that mindset has stayed with me while leading any businesses and my team today. Lesson number 8 was discipline gives you freedom. Now, most people think that discipline restricts the freedom, like too much of discipline is bad. But army taught me the opposite of it. And some of you might not agree with it, but when you are disciplined, you don't waste mental energy making small decisions. Like, for example, you wake up at the same time every day, you exercise, then you finish your work, then you stay organized, then you report back. Because your life has a very defined kind of a structure which remains same every day. So your mind becomes free to focus on bigger things. So discipline doesn't imprison you, it actually liberates you. And I realized this after serving in the Indian Army. Lesson number 9, respect is earned through character, not just the appearance. Now, one thing I deeply appreciated in the army is that expensive clothes, luxury brands, or fancy English don't define your worth. Your conduct does. Like, can people trust you? Do you keep your word? Can they rely on you? Do you stay calm under pressure? Do you respect people regardless of their rank? Your character becomes your identity. And that lesson has stayed with me long after I even hung the uniform. Now, coming to the last lesson and very, very important one, it taught me how to dress with power. Now, this is probably one lesson that has stayed with me for life. Now, I was already a law graduate, you all know that. And when I joined the Indian Army, formal dressing was not something which was completely new to me. Like, I had worn black coats, white shirts, and black trousers in law school and even in the court. But the army gave me structure. In the army, you don't simply wear whatever you feel like. There is a dress code for every occasion. There is a dress code for the officer's mess. You just can't go there and eat your food and come back. There is a dress code for casual evenings. There is a dress code for formal dinners, another one for ceremonial occasions. Then there were different kinds of uniforms like olive greens when you're going to the office in the peace times, combat dress on when I was serving, it was on Fridays or whenever there is a combat situation, the mess uniform, the ceremonial uniform. Now, these different uniforms were for different responsibilities. And having all these uniforms neatly arranged in my cupboard gave me a different sense of pride. Like, you couldn't simply walk into the officer mess wearing your slippers or simple chappals. Jeans were also not allowed. Your shoes had to be crisp and polished every single day. Your clothes had to be properly ironed and crisp. Like, your turnout has to be neat because your appearance reflected your professionalism. Now, being posted at command headquarters and corps headquarters as a young JAG officer, because I was a legal officer, also gave me another kind of unique exposure. While many of my fellow young officers were serving in their units, I often had the opportunity to dine with senior officers and attend formal military gatherings. Like, I observed how they dressed, how they carried themselves, how they entered a room, because there is a plus point being a legal officer in the Indian Army that you get to meet all senior officers very frequently. I observed how they interacted with others, and I realized something that people see you before they hear you. So, your appearance is your first introduction. Now, this doesn't mean that wearing expensive brands, it simply means making an effort whenever you are dressing up. Like, wear clean, well fitted clothes, polish your shoes, dress appropriately for the occasion. Like, do not wear some kind of a clothes which is not appropriate for the occasion, and respect yourself enough to present yourself well. Because when you put effort into your appearance, people often believe that you will put the same effort in your work too. So everything I teach today under Dress with Power, it has its roots from the times when I served in the Indian Army. Now, looking back, the Indian Army, or I would say that serving in the military, didn't just teach me the fighting skills, it taught me confidence, it taught me discipline, it taught me leadership in a different perspective, it taught me communication, it taught me responsibility, it taught me respect. And perhaps the biggest lesson of all of it is that your background decides where you start, but it does not decide where you finish. I was a girl belonging to a village of a very conservative background who was not very fluent in English, who had never attended formal military dinners, who was once told not to step outside after dark, and you're a girl, you can't do anything. And I don't believe that I could one day become an army officer, a lawyer, a communication, and someone speaking to hundreds and thousands of people online. And if that transformation was possible for me, I believe it's possible for you too. Because the most powerful uniform you will ever wear isn't made of fabric, it is made of discipline, integrity, humility, and character. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments. And which of these 10 lessons resonated with you? And if you would like me to share more stories and lessons from my army days, let me know that too. I would be happy to make a part 2 or share some other stories. Until then, please take care of yourself, keep living with power, and keep speaking with power. Until then, take care. This is Captain Ritu Kumar Singh signing off. Jai Hind, Namaste.